tonight we look again at the country singer Willie Nelson, who's come to embody the American love of freedom, independence and wide open spaces. At the age of 70, he still spends most of the year on the road in his tour bus, playing venues throughout the world to fans ranging from teenagers to pensioners. But this itinerant lifestyle hasn't prevented him from acquiring 7 children and 4 wives in the best tradition of country singers. In this film by Daniel Wiles, we see how the kid from Texas managed to unite hippies and rednecks and the rest of us in a love of his music, and we join him as he heads for an open-air concert in Skullbone, Tennessee.
On the road again, just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. Going places that I've never been. Seeing things that I may never see again. I can't wait to get on the road again.
I know Willie. He's awesome.
Hurricane Isidore has finally hit West Tennessee. Hey, Willie Nelson fans, if you looked outside, it's a real frog strangler out there, but he is still going to perform tonight at Skullbone.
I work over 200 days a year out here on the road.
On the road again.
This is my home. I consider it my permanent home, even though it rolls along pretty good.
The life I love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again.
Going to be more interested in music than ordinary, that you were particularly drawn to music? How young were you then?
I think I always knew that. I instinctively knew that I was supposed to be some sort of musician, writer. Mainly, I guess, because everyone in the family was musically inclined. Yeah, it was sort of inevitable that I became a musician.
Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go, me oh my oh. Me gotta go pull the P road down the bayou. I'm sweetest one, me oh my. Son of a gun, we're gonna have a little fun on the bayou. Gamble, line, a crawfish pie, and a filet gumbo. Cause tonight I'm gonna see Mama Shadow me. Gonna pick guitar, fill fruit jar, and be gay. Son of a gun, we're gonna have a little fun on the bayou. When I ran to the store with a penny, and when youth was abundant and plenty, classify these as good times. Good times.
Can you describe your childhood in Abbott?
Small towns are great places to grow up. We had pretty much freedom to run anywhere we wanted to. I had plenty to eat. I had clothes to wear. We grew our own food. We raised our own stock, and so I never was hungry.
When I rolled rubber tires in the driveway.
This is Willie's house. This is where he stays when he does come to Abbott.
Classify these as good times.
You might say we're on the main street of Abbott. The Baptist church is on one corner, the Methodist church on the other corner.
Here I sit with a drink and a memory, but I'm not cold, I'm not wet, and I'm not hungry. So classify these as good times. Good times.
When we were growing up, all the kids went out and picked the cotton, try to make a little money. And Willie said that he thought it was an easier way to make money than picking cotton. But he was a real good friend.
Can you give us some idea of what you were listening to and playing and singing when you were a boy, when you were still in Abbott?
So I was pretty much exposed to all kinds of music, and even where I worked, and I worked a lot in the fields and farms and ranches around Texas, and the workers in the fields were of various. We had some blacks, we had Hispanics, we had some Czechoslovakians, and they're all singing one day or another in their own way. So it was like a huge opera out in the cotton fields, listening to the blues over here and hearing the Mexicans sing over here.
When Willie Nelson was 6 months old, his parents divorced and left Abbott. Willie and his sister Bobby were brought up by their grandparents.
My grandparents were voice teachers and music teachers, and my sister was learning to play the piano, and I was right behind her learning to play the guitar.
It was our own little fairyland, and such a happy childhood. We were always busy. We were never bored. I don't remember being bored, especially not after I got a piano. Willie and I have always been there for each other in all things in our lives, the good and the not so good. It's the love of the music and the love we have for one another, and the music is part of that also.
She's a great musician. I, sat next to her on the piano stool and watched her as she was learning, and her and I play well together.
Passing dreams in the night. It was more than just a woman and a man. It was love without disguise. And now my life will never be the same again.
To tell the truth, I always thought that Bobby had the most talent. But Willie was a good singer, and we always liked to. But Bobby was a fantastic piano player.
I listened to all different kinds of music, whatever was there, and mostly you could hear some little country over here, a little blues.
Well, there were a few little string bands around. Bob Wills would come through here occasionally, and they'd play. They had house dances.
Ida-red, I'm plumb full about Ida-red.
started playing music quite young, and at first he started playing for a radio station that just opened in Hillsboro, called it KHBR radio station, and Willie and Bobby would go there on Sunday afternoon, principally play mostly religious music.
When did you start making money from playing music? When it became the idea, it's partly that's a simple way to say, when did it enter your head that you could make a living out of this?
Well, the first time I got paid was I was about 9 years old, I guess, and I had been working in the cotton fields for $1, $2 a day. So I played in this Bohemian polka band, and I made $8. So I said, I've hit the big time. This is it. No more cotton picking for this cowboy.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
We played a lot of percentage dates. We'd talk ourselves into playing in this beer joint over there for the door, and then when there was no door and nobody showed up, I think one night we split 38 cents apiece, I think. But it was, in the long run, it was very educational.
I can't wait to get on the road again.
After a few years on the road, playing honky-tonks and beer joints, Willie Nelson in his 20s made his way to the mecca of country music, Nashville.
It's a quaint, old mystical city where idols and legends have stood. Port City where dreams come to harbor, a country boy's Hollywood.
When I started to get songs published was when I moved to Nashville, and I started writing for a publishing company called Panther Music. Mm-hmm. And started making a $50 a week draw. So that was the time that I went from that $8 a night job up to a $50 a week songwriting guaranteed draw. So I felt like I'd reached another level of success at that time.
And I'm crazy for thinking that my love could hold you.
In Nashville, Willie Nelson wrote dozens of songs, some of which became huge hits for other singers.
Crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for loving you.
Did you particularly like Patsy Cline's version of Crazy?
Oh, yes, yes. And you know instinctively when you hear one that's done as best that it can be done. And with all the other girl singers in the world who have sung Crazy and have done great jobs on it, but Patsy nailed it.
Do you ever cut anything but hits?
Well, I don't know if I can help it.
Oh, my. Prove it, girl. Prove it.
All right. Crazy. I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I am crazy. Crazy for feeling so blue. I knew you loved me as long as you wanted.
There was a lot of talk at our house about Willie, and a lot of people came by, listened to the record like crazy real well, and naturally want to know who wrote it. I'd never heard of Willie, but I think Hello Walls probably brought his name out quicker because it was kind of a novelty thing, and everybody making jokes about hello wall, hello door, hello floor, and all that.
Hello walls, hello, hello, hot things go for you today.
In 1961, at the age of 28, Willie Nelson had another massive hit with Hello Walls, which sold over 1 million copies for singer Farron Young.
And I'll bet you dread to spend another lonely night with me. But lonely walls, I'll keep you company.
Here we have the writing of Hello Walls, and it's written on the back of a piece of cardboard that they packaged the 78s in when they sent them out to the radio station.
She'll be gone a long, long time.
think I wrote Funny How Time Slips Away, Crazy, and Nightlife.
In 1 week?
In 1 week, yeah. And, of course, I thought they were good songs, but I had no idea what they would go on to become.
How do these things arrive? You jot them down. You called something once a 10-minute song, but it must have been stacked up for a long time in advance, just waiting to be, I presume that's the way it happens, and out it comes.
I don't really know where any of these songs come from. There's really no answer to where do you get ideas for songs. They just come up. Sometimes they're easy, and sometimes they're a long time coming.
Did you wish sometimes I could be singing that? I should be up there singing my own song.
Oh, yeah. In fact, Farron was always telling me to just stay in town, and you stay in Nashville and write me songs, and I'll record them. This was when he'd done Hello Walls, and then he'd done 2 or 3 more songs of mine. And it, kind of made sense that I could stay in Nashville and write songs for guys like Farron and just be a songwriter and not worry about going around singing and traveling. But that's what I wanted to do. I just enjoy playing the music more, really, than I enjoy writing.
I'm crazy for thinking that my love could hold you.
But despite his success as a songwriter, Willie Nelson was to find it tough going as a performer in 60s Nashville.
I'm crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for loving you.
In the digital networked economy, where collaboration is easy, where transactions are instant and secure, where data is stored safely, where business is done, there is a company that delivers IT services backed by decades of network expertise. BT. Discover more about her networked IT services. BT. More power to you.
When you watch TV, your eye doesn't just see what's in here. You see out here and out here. It's called your peripheral vision. Now there's a TV that's designed around the way you see. It's an eyeful. You've never seen anything like it. Peripheral television is here. And here. And here.
Security. You can't take it for granted. That's why the Morgan Stanley card has a dedicated security team who monitor your account for fraudulent transactions. For the full story, visit our website, the Morgan Stanley credit card, devoted to you.
First, I need to cut the rate. That's better. Now we'll go in and attach an attractive balanced transfer rate.
0%. Very attractive.
Finally, a huge injection of rewards. There.
I like it.
The Virgin credit card. Plastic surgery you have to have. Call 0800 917 9798. If you have one tooth, a toothbrush will do. What if you have a mouthful? Sonicare with Philips Sonic technology creates a fluid force that reaches deep between teeth. If you have teeth, you need a teeth brush. Philips Sonicare.
Pete, yeah, it's me, emergency. I need you to babysit.
She's a part-time mum.
An honour killing.
No, sir, just a murder.
With a full-time job.
We're going to keep knocking on doors until we find someone who saw something.
Caroline Quentin stars in Blue Murder, Monday at 9, ITV1.
I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so lonely.
Willie never really fit into the system as much as he tried to, I think, in Nashville. As good a songwriter as he was, you had to make it as a performer, and he didn't look like a country star. He looked more like an insurance salesman.
Hello, walls.
He looked very uncomfortable when you see him on the stage of the Opry. He was not the traditional Nashville performer for those days. He was not a good-looking guy. He was not slick. He was not a ladies' man.
Since she up and walked away, and I'll bet you dread to spend another lonely night with me. But lonely walls, I'll keep you company.
Through the years, singing all these different standards over and over and over and over again every night, I started phrasing a little differently.
Willie likes to phrase the way he feels it, and that didn't maybe quite go well with the staging of the performance with the musicians there.
Well, listen to the blues they're playing. And listen.
And I felt like, why not sing it each time a little bit different? Why stay right on the beat? Why do it this way when it feels good to move around?
Mine is just another scene.
And add a little blues or jazz tint to it, or whatever you're feeling at the moment. So I didn't really put any restrictions on myself.
And the nightlife ain't no good life, but it's my life.
I was used to dressing up to go to church, so one day a week I'd put on a suit and tie, so it didn't really bother me to do that and when I went on stage.
Willie never did enjoy going to the barber and getting his hair cut. That was something he never enjoyed.
He did what he thought he had to do, I think, but it wasn't really what the powers that be in Nashville thought of as a country star.
And then someday you'd leave me for somebody new.
They didn't really know how to record me. They didn't know how to market it, I guess, because my songs and my voice was a little bit different. But continually doing it the Nashville way with all the voices and strings and everything, it just wasn't what I wanted.
Wondering what in the world did I do?
Can you just talk a little bit about what, in your view, makes a great country song?
Well, you have to have a good lyric and a good melody, and you don't really need a great singer. I've proven that. If you can carry a melody, carry a tune, and keep time, if you can have a good song, that good song will take care of you.
But to talk a bit more about country songs, are they saying something about that particular part of America? Because they seem to describe an area and a sort of people as well as being songs. Do you agree with that?
Country music speaks to the soul. It has a lot to do with the instrumentation you put behind it, or the guy who's singing it. It would be, I would think, that Frank Sinatra is one of my favorite all-time singers. He would have never been a country singer because he didn't have that particular quality. And immediately when you hear him sing a country song, you'd realize that, you know, it's good, but, you know, he should stick to what he really knows how to do.
So what is missing there?
Who knows? You know, I don't really know what's missing, but you can hear immediately if a guy is really a genuine country singer. And it doesn't make him any better or worse than anybody else, but if he is born with that ability to put his emotions into the song, I think that has a lot to do with it.
When the evening sun goes down, you will find me hanging round.
Can you give us some idea of what sort of life you're living in Nashville as a songwriter? Were experiences coming your way that were going to sustain your songwriting and your career as a singer?
Well, we can talk a lot about that. A lot of poker games, and a lot of gambling, and in those days, a lot of drinking.
The nightlife ain't no good life, but it's my life. The nightlife ain't no good life, but it's my life.
So we went around creating havoc in a lot of different places, and always, you know, drinking and, you know, hanging out in places where we shouldn't have been, and getting into scuffles.
Well, I gotta get drunk, I can't stay sober. There's a lot of good people in town that like to hear me holler, see me spending my dollars, and I wouldn't think of letting them down. Well, there's a lot of doctors that tell me I better start to slowing it down, but there's more old drunks than there are old doctors, so I guess we better have another round.
But it's rather romantic as well, isn't it? The idea of this boy coming up from a, let's say, Abbott is a gospel church town, and then...
Romantic wasn't exactly the word we put on.
What word would you have used there?
Interesting.
He didn't know where his ex-wife was working, and he didn't know where she lived, and he wanted to see his kids, and he asked me, did I know? And I said, I know where she's working.
And I had this monstrous gun. I don't know what it was, something that shoot through a steel door.
And she was tending bar. And I said, now let's don't get in here and get in any trouble.
What happened, I just walked down off the steps and stood there and put 3 shots right behind his head in the doorpost.
So we started out the door, and she started throwing everything she could get her hands on from behind the bar.
He really didn't care for me to have a gun, but again, this time he had had too much to drink.
One of the bottles that she threw at Willie, he ducked, and it hit the side of the wall and busted, and a piece of the glass just cut my chin all the way across there, and it just fell out in my hand.
Interesting.
You think you can get away with interesting? We can't beat up interesting.
Oh, you know.
Is this called drawing a veil over a past?
It could be blocking out a lot of things.
I mean, choosing not to remember.
Well, it's been rough and rocky traveling, but I'm finally standing upright on the ground. And after taking several readings, I'm surprised to find my mind still fairly sound. Well, I thought Nashville was the roughest, but I know I've said the same about them all. We received our education in the cities of the nation, me and Paul.
We're both from Texas. I met him in '56. We went through a lot. You know, people told us we went through a rough time, but I know they didn't tell us at the time, so we didn't know that. It was hard for him. He didn't actually break out of the mold, so to speak, or even break out on his own until he went to Texas.
You were almost going to give up the business at that stage, as I understand it from reading about you.
I was retiring when I left Nashville. I went back to Texas to retire, and I knew that I could make a living just playing a few beer joints along weekends, and I had some songs that were going to draw some royalties, and so I felt like that I could comfortably sit back and not have to worry too much. But then, as fate would have it, things turned rather quickly.
Is on the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again.
In 1970, after 10 frustrating years in Nashville, Nelson headed home to Texas.
When we went back to Texas, it was just a great feeling to go back and be so widely accepted again.
And when I went back to Texas, things started happening on the positive side, and I recorded an album called Red-Headed Stranger. The record company thought it was a little less than a demo, I think. But they were surprised when Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain became a big hit.
In 1975, it was this song off the Red-Headed Stranger album that finally launched Willie Nelson as a performing star.
Blue eyes crying in the rain.
When Willie moved back to Texas, he hit an immediate chord with the young sort of hippie audiences, and he was sort of at one with the hippie generation, and his popularity took off from there. And the amazing thing was that 6 months after I met him, when he looked like the insurance salesman with the short hair, his hair was growing out, he was starting to wear denim, the bandanas started to appear, and all of a sudden Willie metamorphosed into the Willie Nelson we know today, the sort of earth father, the sort of guru of a whole generation.
Thank you very much and welcome to the Willie Nelson 4th of July picnic.
All of a sudden you had cowboys growing their hair long and hippies wearing cowboy boots and cowboy hats. So you had a real sort of blurring of the lines, and Willie was the reason for that.
Stay all night, stay a little longer, dance all night, dance a little longer, pull on.
And you had these two audiences suddenly meeting on common ground, and there were some rough moments at first where they would literally kick the hell out of each other. But they really came to an understanding.
Number on the door, the next house over is the grocery store. You better stay all night, stay a little longer, dance all night, dance a little longer, pull off your coat, throw it in the corner, don't see why, don't stay a little longer. I said stay all night.
In 1978, Willie Nelson surprised his fans with an album of all-time American classics. When you released Stardust in 1978, the record company confidently predicted that it would bomb, and it must be very satisfying that it turned out to be such a massive hit.
Yeah, it was the same people that said the Red-Headed Stranger was going to bomb, so it wasn't anything I hadn't heard before, and by then I'd gotten to the point where, you know, I decided that, well, if they don't like it, it must be good.
It was really as honestly as straightforward as that, was it?
Yeah.
Why did you think it would work? What was about this album that was going to... Had you any idea it would be such a hit?
Because there was 10 great songs. Stardust, Moonlight, and Vermont. I mean, million sellers. But there'd been a period of time where no one had recorded these songs, especially a country guy trying to do them.
Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies.
These were some of the great songs which then you sort of refurbished. Were any of them particularly difficult to tackle? Can you remember any?
Not really, because I'd sung them every night of my life, you know.
All of me, when I take all of me, can't you see that I'm no good without you? Take my arms, cause I wanna lose them. Take my lips, I'll never use them.
So all of these songs were second nature to me. I'd sung Stardust in Georgia probably as many times as I had San Antonio Rose, because they were part of the requests that came in every night.
Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines.
Georgia, my Georgia, oh, the whole day through. Oh, sweet song, Georgia on my mind, my mind.
With his songwriting royalties and massive record sales, Willie Nelson was riding high, but he was heading for a dramatic fall.
Well, it was so good, I didn't want to quit.
It's 24/7. I need a taxi, please. Look, my invite definitely said elves, okay?
Have you had enough of wrinkles? Discover Lift from Garnier Skin Naturals, a unique firming anti-wrinkle formula with smoothing essence of cherries and ginger. In tests, 95% of women loved it. And Garnier's skincare research is supported by the British Skin Foundation. Lift from Garnier Skin Naturals.
Garnier.
Pick up Volume 3 of this magnificent Dorling Kindersley Family Encyclopedia for an amazing £3.60 with your Daily Mail tomorrow. You owe it to your children.
Could you save money by bringing your mortgage to First Direct? Give us a call and see if you can. First Direct 0800 24 24 24.
There is a power so awesome, so irresistible. You'll do anything to get your hands on it. Introducing Gillette M3 Power. Turn on Gillette's first battery-powered shaving system and turn on the amazing new Power Glide blades. Micropulses help raise hair so you shave incredibly close in one power stroke. Feel the power. Nothing shaves closer. For maximum power, change the battery every 6 months. New M3 Power from Gillette. Now make Gillette's best shave even better. Introducing new Mach 3 Turbo Gel for Gillette's best razor glide. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Having lost a beautiful wife, a dream home, and a well-paid job,
Sorry.
Mark's finally lost it.
What is that stuff on your face?
It's chocolate powder.
Introducing Michael Sheen in the drama premiere, Dirty Filthy Love, next Sunday at 9.
Oh, by my memories of things that used to be.
The IRS took all of his possessions, his homes, everything he had, and we went to Austin in 1991 when they auctioned his stuff off. The IRS allowed us to buy a lot of it, and we have most of it here in the museum.
Oh, by my memories.
How about this one? Oh, $10 bill. $10 bill is 271B. How about a $10 bill? I'm going to go 10. You know what I'm going to do now? $10 bill now 15, 15 now 20. Now 25. When you go $25 bill, you're at 15 now 25. When you go 25, you're at $20 bill now 25. 25. You want to 25?
These hung in Willie's office there. And we also have his first pay slip that he received on the Grand Ole Opry in 1963. He made $15 and received $11 of it.
Well, it came about with a lot of bad advice from accountants and lawyers and trying to skip paying this year's taxes and get into a tax shelter and deferring it and all those horrible words.
There were the smiles before the tears, and with the smiles, some better years. Oh, by my memories.
I invested in some tax shelters that the IRS disallowed. So not only had I lost the money in the tax shelter, but I had also not paid the taxes. So the bill is doubled up. And I had a 14-year period there where the penalties and interest were like $5,000 a day. So it got up to $32 million. And what I could never understand is how our brilliant government let a guitar player from Abbott get into him for $32 million. I said, somebody's not watching the store.
I'd like to start my life anew, but memories just make me blue.
Everything that I had paid for, they come in and took right away. I've learned one thing: don't pay for anything. Keep it hawked all the time. And if you can go borrow $10,000, go get it. Spend the money. Do whatever. And
He found a good tax lawyer and pretty much threw himself on the mercy of the IRS. His first move was to offer to do a special album, which was called Who'll Buy My Memories. The IRS made about probably $3.5 million off of that double album. So that pretty much got the IRS off his back initially. He paid them back another $9 million over the next 5 years. So he essentially dug himself out of a very deep hole.
Who'll buy my memories? Of things that used to be.
All these years that I've known him, I've always tried to figure out how can he accept everything that has happened to him. It doesn't seem to bother him. I wish I knew how he did it, but I guess it's just his philosophy of life, that nothing is real bad. There's some good in everything that happens. He's the happiest guy I've ever seen.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Willie. Happy birthday to you.
We present to you this eagle for this moment. Yes, sir.
Nelson, would you make welcome right now Mr. Julio Iglesias?
To all the girls I've loved before.
Trouble in and out outdoors. We glad they came along.
We dedicate the song
to all the girls we've loved before.
Stars on the 4th of July, wishing we were rockets bursting into the sky, talking about redemption and leaving things behind. as the sun sank west of the Mendocino County line.
Mendocino County Line, a collaboration with Leanne Womack, is Nelson's latest release.
Scarce this Monday morning feeling washed away. I orchestrated paradise, couldn't make you stay. You dance with the horses through the sands of time. As the sun sinks.
He's a tricky little devil. It's hard to try and sing harmony with him. But I learned a lot about phrasing and stuff, you know, about singing it the way you feel it instead of you know, right on the beat or right on the melody.
I have these pictures and I keep these photographs.
I let him do his thing and just try to fill in the gaps.
These pictures and these photographs let me know I'm doing fine.
I used to make you happy once upon a time, but the sun sank west of the Mendocino County line.
He also shot Maria, Shut Up and Kiss Me, the last video. What I found to be so interesting about the Maria video was that it was the hottest video I had ever seen on country music television, by far. And it was Willie Nelson.
Maria, shut up and kiss me. Stop shaking, stand up and hold me. I bet you're gonna miss me. You need me, believe me, Maria. Shut up and kiss me. You're crazy and it turns me on and on, the way you're carrying on.
Yeah, Willie has quite a bit of earthiness to him, you know, and some people might call it Western or cowboy or whatever, but I think of it as being more just earthy. He embodies the free American, you know, to be able to do what you want within certain boundaries.
But the sun sank west of the Mendocino County line.
You missed him.
I don't kill for amusement, man or rabbit.
No, sir.
I always felt like that I grew up a few years later than I wanted to. I would have liked to have been born in the time when everyone rode a horse and carried a gun and had a big time, you know, and farmed and ranched, and nobody bothered them, except when they did, they wished they hadn't.
I grew up dreaming of being a cowboy and loving the cowboy ways, pursuing the life of my high-riding heroes. I burned up my childhood days. I learned all the rules of a modern-day drifter. Don't you hold on to nothing too long. Just take what you need from the ladies that leave them with the words of a sad country song.
And I liked that way of life, and I wanted to be that cowboy with a guitar and a horse and a gun, and I wanted to live my life that way. And I didn't really want to be a bad guy, but I didn't want to be too lily white either, you know.
You plan to kill me today?
Today.
You haven't got enough ass in your britches to pull the trigger on Barbarossa. You're gonna look funny with your brains blowing out your ears.
I can do it.
Who's gonna help your old mama around the house?
He's embodied a real myth that America loves. It's the myth of the open road, the myth of the cowboy, just really what the cowboy era represented in terms of white hats, clean living, basically how to be a good person. I think that at bottom, that's what really represents, and that's what the cowboy still is in America. It's a sense of innate goodness that we hope will always be there.
Cowboys like smoky old cool roads and clear mountain moors. times won't know how to take it. He ain't wrong, he's just different, but his pride won't let him do things to make you think he's right.
So I think he symbolizes kind of what this country was built on, and I've seen artists, especially since September the 11th, try to take hold of symbolizing what America's about, or things like that. And Willie's been doing it. He was American before that was so cool, you know.
When I was asked to do the tribute to heroes after the September 11th thing, it was quite an emotional day, and I was there all day watching the other acts do their tributes. By the time it was my part, I'd really gotten into it, and it was, really a lot of high emotion day.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee.
They asked me what I thought about all that. First thing I thought of was, whenever I get hit, I always like to look around to see who hit me before I start hitting back. So far, I think we made some mistakes along those lines. We haven't hit the right people yet. We haven't found them. I mean, it's time to do a lot of soul searching and time to start asking ourselves, why did this happen? If we did something to cause it to happen, then let's don't do that. It's very simple. If I was having problems with my next door neighbor, I would go over and say, how can we resolve this? If I'm doing something wrong, tell me. And if he tells me, and if I say, well, if that's what's bothering you, then let me not do that anymore, because I don't want you coming over here killing me and killing my family and killing yourself at the same time. You must be pretty damn serious if you're doing it that way.
America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Country music speaks to the soul, not only to America, but country music is loved the world over, and a lot of different countries have their own brand of country music. But the American country music has sort of caught on all over the world. A good country song has no end to it will live forever.
We used to be so happy once upon a time. But the sun sang west and the sea no counted high.
Okay, well, I enjoyed that.
Thank you. Me too.
Thank you very much. I think we covered the field without you
giving up anything,
telling us anything really about sort of what really went on in those saloons. People, the audience is dying to hear about you drinking and brawling and all that. So we get absolutely
blood and guts and eyeballs.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. I'll have to read the books.
A lot of things are best left to the imagination.
Is that what you think? I've got an audience out there. You have an audience. They're going to say you got to talk to Willie Nelson. You didn't ask him about
let's
that
talk
poker
again.
Some other time.
Let's talk again some other time. Maybe I'll open up a little.
Maybe we could play poker. If you knew how badly I play poker, you'd take
I'd
that
love to
right
have you.
Everybody wants to be in that game. Yeah.
People call up and say, well, we've got a real good poker player. Can he come over? I said, hell no, get me a bad poker player.
It's great. Anyway, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I gotta go now. I guess I'll see you around. I don't know when though, never know when I'll be back in town. But remember what I tell you, that in time you're gonna pay. And it's surprising how time slips away.